everything clicked together. And it was like having a diagnosis for a physical illness that you don't know, it's
Right.
almost like the unknowns are worse than the knowns.
Mhm.
And knowing what it is, and now knowing that there's a path out of this was extremely helpful. And it brought hope. And it actually has allowed me to breathe in a way that I wasn't.
Do you want to achieve your goals, but anxiety is tripping you up? Like to keep those fun weekend plans, but depression has you counseling again? Hey, I'm Lori, dog mom, lover of nature, and hygge enthusiast. Positive psychology skills help me overcome chronic severe PTSD. If you're ready to learn how to overcome your anxiety and depression and rediscover happiness and purpose in life, then get your cozy on and let's get started. Welcome back to Practical Solutions for PTSD. I'm going to keep my part of this pretty short because I have a special treat for you. I have a special guest on the show today, Shawna, and we're going to open the window into our coaching session with you with her permission. We're going to share just a portion of it and let you see behind the curtain and what happens when you sign up for a anxiety and depression breakthrough coaching session. So just a quick reminder as you're listening to this, if you would like to get a breakthrough just like Shawna is, you can go to practicalsolutionsforptsd.com/breakthrough and schedule your own one-on-one appointment, and I'll be able to come alongside you and help you to figure things out, to pull things together, and to get a practical plan for how to move forward and help you operate on a day-to-day basis. So again, you can go to practicalsolutionsforptsd.com/breakthrough and schedule your own anxiety and depression breakthrough coaching session with me. Shawna came to me a couple months ago and asked if she could do some one-on-one coaching. And after a couple sessions, I began seeing some clear signs of extreme burnout. So I sent her a worksheet and asked her to fill it out for me and get back to me, let me know. And she told me that she was ranking off the charts on every single one of them for burnout. So we began to work on some specific things to help her overcome the burnout, to manage it where she is right now, and some steps for healing, etc. And one of the really important things that she needed was boundaries. And we've done some exercises on that. But today I'm going to walk you through how we worked through self care boundaries. And these will allow her, one, to give herself space and time today to work on healing, but also to begin to set some patterns and some boundaries to take her into the future so that she can protect herself as she goes out serving other people so that she's not burning out again. So we're not only fixing the problem for today and giving her operational tools for today, but also giving her a toolkit that will help her in the future. So with that said, we're going to jump into this coaching session and I hope y'all enjoy. So we're going to walk through a really simple exercise that can help you identify where the left and right boundaries and how to create some self-care boundaries that will help you to navigate just day-to-day life. So the first thing I want you to do is to draw a Venn diagram, which is two circles overlapping in the center. So you look at the left-hand side would be the nourishing things in your life. So the things in your life that feed you, that energize you, that bring you peace, anything like that would be on the nourishing side. And then the left circle on the outside would be your depleting items. And these would be things that exhaust you, frustrate you, cause you anxiety, anything like that. And then in the center where the two circles overlap would be the neutral zone. So this would be maybe things like fixing a meal, um, vacuuming the floor, doing your yard work. It may or may not be. I mean, for me, doing yard work is very nourishing, but not for everybody. Sometimes it's just a chore to do. So it could just be some of those neutral things in the center. So first of all, let's work on your nourishing side. So what in your life that you can do, and it could be little tiny things like sitting on your swing or taking a walk down by the river or enjoying a warm cup of, I think you drink coffee. For me, it's tea. So enjoying a really good tasting cup of coffee, maybe a special treat, something like that that nourishes you. And also, if you have daily activities, you've mentioned before that you like editing. So it could be something that's relaxing to you and nourishes you emotionally. So things like that. So do you have things that you would put on the nourishing side of that chart?
I do. I do. Um, Anything that is soft, fresh flowers, sunshine, spending time on my swing, like you mentioned. and a good cup of coffee, or I'm also into like flavored iced teas. Those just bring a spark of joy to the day. I don't know how to describe why,
Hmm.
but they do. Also, I wrote down my fountain. I moved. I don't have a water source close to me, but I did bring my a big fountain out next to my swing so that there's running water, and that is a system calming little tip thing there or thing that I do. Sunsets, I do like to paint as well. Short walks, I can't do the long walks right now, but a short walk can sometimes help again, kind of bring some calm to my system. Some time with good friends, reading a book. Those are some different things that I've found bring some calm to my system. They're nourishing to my spirit.
Very good. Okay, let's work on the depleting side. So these would be things that exhaust you, frustrate you, cause you anxiety. And it could be as simple as the job that you have to hold or looking for a job. I know you just recently bought a car for Carson, but I know the process was very depleting. So, I mean, you wouldn't put that on there now because you're done with that, but just some other things that in your life that you have to deal with on a day-to-day basis, or maybe those big things that come up once a week, once a month that are depleting for you.
On that side, I would put some things like tasks that demand a lot of emotional energy, maybe things that demand a lot of decisions. So things that kind of pull from me in that way. Um, it can be little decisions, but a lot of them together make a huge task for me right now. Um, when I fail to meet someone's expectations for something, that is really something difficult for me. If I'm in charge of a large group scenario where my decisions are affecting a lot of people, that pulls a lot from me in ways now that didn't used to. But I would say one of the smaller things that I've noticed has been extremely depleting for me is social media, and maybe in a different way than you might think. It's I have to do something with the information that comes in. So either someone's got a need and I want to care. I'm an empathetic person. And so it's, I want to show that I care for that person, but I have nothing to give right now. Or it might be an event that's happening that I probably should be interested in or take my kids to or be part of, but I have no emotional energy for it. So it's almost easier if I didn't know that it happened. Also, I don't know, even just knowing that things are happening in the world is sometimes too much for my brain right now. Again, this is me in not my 100%, like you mentioned, my 100% is different now than it used to be. I do not have emotional resources to give to even like news events, world events, things like that. And I found that time on social media is very depleting as a result. While I do want to stay connected to people, that one is hard. Also, sometimes even going to the grocery store can pull more out of me than feels like it normally should. So sometimes
Mhm.
something like that is even a massive task to me right now. It's hard sometimes, or if I know I can't do something that someone needs me to do, there is a pull and a depletion. Maybe even my kids, they need help with something that I'm unable. It's hard sometimes, or if I know I can't do something that someone needs me to do, there is a pull and a depletion. Maybe even my kids, they need help with something that I'm unable to accomplish on my own. Those types of things leave me feeling extremely wobbly emotionally.
One important thing about this process is it's helping you to identify those things that are depleting you. So knowing what's wrong is half the problem, right? So it's half the challenge. So that's a good thing that you've been able to identify that. You also have identified things that can nourish you. So this is where we start putting it together. So you can draw a table, or if you have the form with you, You can do the table, but on the left-hand column, you're going to write depleting or draining activities or relationships. And then on the right-hand column would be self-boundary and nourishing activities. So this is where we're going to take the information you gave me in the diagram. We're going to put that together because the goal here is when you know that you're going to be engaged in a depleting activity, or even if you get caught up in one and you're like, oh man, that was really exhausting. What do I do now? You can pull from these nourishing activities, the things that help you, the things that replenish you, and make sure that you're setting aside time to spend in those to refill the cup that's been depleted or drained. So it's the boundary is figuring out, okay, if I'm going to spend so much time doing this, I need to make sure that I'm spending some time doing this as well. So on the depleting activities, let's do social media because I was 100% relating to that because for a while I completely went off of any kind of news. I didn't listen to any kind of news at all. I cut off all social media I wasn't on Facebook for a long, long time because I just couldn't handle it. And that was for me was somewhat of an extreme, but I had to cut it all off. For you, it may not be that, but you have identified that social media is a drain for you. So maybe one, you can limit that, but you list social media on one side. So let's do that one first. And then we can do a couple others if you want to. So we have social media on one side. So one recommendation I would put in there is to set a boundary around your time on social media. So maybe only once a day, if that. Avoid any kind of political stuff that does not directly impact you. I would avoid that because there's all kinds of anxiety in the news and it's mostly bad. So if you can avoid that at all possible, in some ways it might make you feel like you're being an irresponsible citizen. But right now it's more important for you to heal and you can be a responsible citizen later. So right now we're going to focus on healing. But then on the other side of that, on the self-care boundary is after I have spent 30 minutes on social media, then I'm going to make sure that I do something that's going to replenish me, take care of me, and fill me back up, help me relax, help me decompress. So what would you like to balance that time with social media out with?
I guess it would kind of depend on where I am at the moment, but help. Not sure what a good balance thing would be for that.
So you don't even necessarily have to do it immediately.
Okay.
But maybe if you can set a time boundary around it, that would be helpful.
Okay.
So like I'm only going to spend 30 minutes on social media, or I'm only going to check it once a day. And because it exhausts me and wears me out, I'm going to make sure I don't do it at the end of the night where I'm right before I go to bed because I'm going to be anxious over that.
I think things that bring me more to the moment are very helpful, the reality of the moment. So anything like spending some time outside or um, interacting with my kids kind of helps ground me back in right here
Excellent. Yeah.
and pull back from the out there. I heard it said not too long ago that we were not created to handle the influx of information that social media bombards us with on a regular basis. Like typically, we would have been in a small community and we would deal with one crisis at a time and work together to do that. And handling everybody's is too much. And that's kind of where I feel like I am. I feel like I've been trying to help in too many so many places that now I have nothing left to give the people right in my own space. And so grounding myself back in the here and now in some way can take a walk with my son or sit with my daughter and hear her stories about college or even texting with a friend one on one. Anything one on one is better and brings me back to kind of my world rather than trying to carry everyone else's.
Yeah, that's excellent and a really good observation. So you could put on that self-care boundary on the right-hand side is spending, 5-10 minutes making sure you're doing a grounding activity. And if you're not able to do one-on-one activity with someone you really care about that's in your close circle, maybe that could be sitting out on your porch, in the swing by the water fountain
Mhm.
that would be able to help ground you in that moment. I would try to find a balance of activity in case someone's not available. And what can
Right.
I do on my own that helps ground me? But if you have grounding activities on that side, that would be really helpful.
Good. Another thing I would say that like a large task that has a lot of mini decisions in it, like a large like that easily leads to decision fatigue or emotional drain of some sort, like deciding a bunch of things. I know I have to do some of that in small batches. So that's one thing I guess that I know creates a lot of drain on me right now. So what would like I've written down that I could just sit and be, just not just kind of not decide things for a few minutes, maybe before and after. I don't know. But is there something more specific that you think I could put around something like that? Whether it's planning an event for my family or um, organizing a large area that requires lots of mini decisions.
One is breaking it down into small chunks. What you have there is an excellent advice because you're doing it just a little bit at a time and then giving yourself breaks in between. Because this is draining, I would recommend making sure that you're having something that you're filling yourself back up with it. So after a time where you've made a few decisions and you're done with that, then maybe you can, take a few minutes to sit on your porch and just relax or take a short walk. Maybe walk through your garden and enjoy the flowers. Sit down and read a good book, maybe just a couple chapters, something that is relaxing for you and nourishes your soul. You might could even do it ahead of time so that you're filled up a little more before you make all those decisions and you're in a calmer place. Also, while you're making the decisions, if possible, you could, take your snuggle blanket and make sure you have it on your lap. So you have that tactile, something you could touch and hold on to through the process of making those decisions that can help calm you in the process. If that's an option, it may not be depending on the circumstances. The other thing to consider is how much of this do you personally have to do, and how much of it can you delegate to someone else that's involved? Because often it's easy to assume responsibility for everything. And I do the same thing. It's like, this is my task. So you take, like, this, I'm responsible for the ultimate outcome, but it doesn't mean I have to do every single thing. Similar to Moses. We talked about this in an earlier podcast where Moses was responsible for leading the children of Israel out, but it didn't mean he had to do all the judiciary duties to get there. Like he assigned people to do that. So very similar concept with when you're
Mhm.
planning an event, how much of that can you delegate out to other people? And then just check in with them and, follow up, make sure it's getting done, but you can delegate that out. Making sure that you're replenishing periodically, dividing it into small chunks, and then delegating those three things, I think would be really good boundaries to set on that.
Good. You also mentioned when we talked about this before, setting boundaries for caregiving, like setting time limits
Yes.
on like even my own, like I have an hour to give this or I have 30 minutes to give this
Yes.
or whatever. I really, really liked what you said there about that because it allows me to still be invested and show care without feeling like I am going to be trashed at the end of
Mhm.
this, because I have, a little to give. And you also mentioned um, allowing someone to share their story, to vent, so to speak, without me feeling like I need to fix it all. That was also a huge permission thing for my brain that really helped
Mhm.
me kind of shift gears on that. I haven't had too many opportunities to put it into practice yet, but I really appreciated those things that you said.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
And I want to be present for people. I don't want to stop reaching out into people's lives and caring just because I've got this struggle thing going over here on the side. I still want to be the caregiver type person, and because I feel like that God has called me to be that in some way, in some capacity. So learning how to do what he's called me to do while I'm allowing myself this healing on the side, I think is important. And you're helping me with that.
Another important thing is depleting activities that are not part of that calling. So are there other things, and this is outside of the self-care boundary worksheet actually, but are there other things that are being asked of you to do that don't necessarily have to be Shawna, that are depleting you and removing that energy that you could be using to minister to other people, especially if you feel that's where God is calling you? So that would be, don't have to do that today, but that would be something I'd encourage you to sit down and list out. And how many of those can I let go of that I doesn't have to be me? It could be someone else. Um, Maybe they thought I was available and had the capabilities, but do I have the capacity? There's a difference between that capability and capacity. And is it robbing me from fulfilling the calling that God put on my life? Because if you can get rid of some of those, you will have more to give where you feel God has called you.
That's a really good thought, determining the difference between capability and capacity. Because I have always assumed, like, my thinking has always been, if you can, you should. And it's like, as far as capability, if you are capable, you should step into that because it's probably what you're supposed to do. And I'm learning that my capacity doesn't always match right now.
Yeah, that is very true. And the sooner you tune into that and dial back, the sooner you'll be able to give again. And the more you can give in the places God has called you. I'd like for you, if you don't mind, to talk to the audience just a little bit. Why did you choose to coach with me?
I have been to a counselor and, we've worked through things that are counseling type things, counseling type issues, that sort of thing, going digging back. Why did this happen? How did you feel when it happened? All that sort of stuff. But I was really looking for some tools for the here and the now and some understanding of the situation I find myself in right now. And when I started listening to your podcast, there were so many pieces of it that clicked into place in my brain and made so much sense. And it wasn't as heavy as going back into the reasons why I'm here. It was like, okay, I can get a hold of this piece of advice that she just gave. I can do this today. And so I was really interested in talking to you more about specifics about my situation and saying, okay, what do you see? What are the patterns you see? What do you think it is that I'm dealing with, first of all? And as far as my body, what's going on in my head, what's going on right now, like my sense of depletion, my sense of burnout, whatever. And you were able to put that together for me really well and make sense out of it for me. And then also give me permission to explore this idea of boundaries and give me tools, specific tools that helped me to identify my values a little bit more specifically and identify what boundaries I need to put in place a little bit more in detail. And all of that has come together to like just really turn things around in my head and give me a path forward
Mhm.
and in ways that makes practical sense. Stuff I can get a hold of, and I really appreciate it very, very much.
Oh, thank you. It's been a pleasure coaching you. It's been a lot of fun watching the light turn on. And we've been through a few sessions and now into being able to see the benefits of that as you're implementing some of that. We had talked a couple times when I told you I think what you're dealing with is extreme burnout, and I sent you the sheet to fill out. Tell the people what that was like when you filled it out and you realized the light turned on as to what you were dealing with.
So I had had in mind that I was maybe dealing with some depression, but it didn't look like that. It wasn't fitting my mold, my mental picture and what I had been through with depression before, with deep depression before. And so I was really confused. And so when you sent me that sheet and I started filling out the simple questions that were on there, and based on what you had told me about extreme burnout, the pieces clicked together. And it was like this huge, I don't know, this huge burden rolled off my shoulders. I didn't feel stupid.
Mhm.
I didn't feel weak. I didn't feel, because I had been feeling those things like you should be able to do blah, blah, blah,
Right.
this, that, and the other. And I couldn't understand what was happening. And so putting the pieces together with that worksheet and then with the things that you told me about extreme burnout, everything clicked together and it was like having a diagnosis for a physical illness that you don't know, it's
Right.
almost like the unknowns are worse than the knowns.
Mhm.
And knowing what it is and now knowing that there's a path out of this was extremely helpful and it brought hope and it actually has allowed me to breathe actually in a way that I wasn't because I felt like I should have been able to figure a way out by myself, but your insight actually almost immediately put pieces together for me in a way that I hadn't gotten to on my own, and I really appreciated all of that.
Thank you. And I will say that once that light turned on for you, I saw a difference in your approach and like, wow, I can actually now I know what's wrong with me, that I'm not broken. I can actually get this put together and move forward. So some definite steps that you
Even
can take in a path forward.
right, even if it takes some time, it's like it that doesn't bother me.
Mhm.
Like I'm not fighting with it like I was before. Now it's just like, okay, I get it now. I understand it now in a different way. And it that alone and then having the path to climb back out, even like I said, even if it takes some time, is extremely encouraging.
Thank you very much for your openness and vulnerability, Shawna. I really appreciate you letting us air your coaching session today. And also, thank you for your feedback and how the coaching sessions have helped you in your healing journey. If you find yourself in a place similar to Shawna where you don't understand what's going on and it isn't making sense, but you'd like some help, go to practicalsolutionsforptsd.com/breakthrough and schedule your session today. Hey, my friend, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If so, would you please take 30 seconds and share it with someone you know who may be struggling with depression and anxiety? Also, would you please leave a quick review for the show? Knowing how this podcast is helping you fills my heart with so much joy, and it motivates me for future episodes. For now, it's time for Sam and I to head outside to enjoy some sunshine and fresh air. We'll see you back here on Tuesdays and Thursdays for more great episodes.